ODB, OBS,
ABC,
ABC, EFG,
PSP,
ESPN,
PSPN.
PSP.
Hey guys, welcome back to PSPN. We're going to talk all things PSP. I'm your host, PS Teddy.
If you're American before you go into the bathroom, and Russian when you no wait no you're Russian when you go to the bathroom, and you're American when you come out of the bathroom. What are you when you're in the bathroom?
PN.
European.
You sure are. Hey kids.
Alright.
You want to use that?
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, are you recording?
Welcome back to Turbo Throwdown. Everybody throw down.
Yeah. Throw down your Genesis, Sonic Genesis collection. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody. I don't even have it over here.
Dreamcast
Everybody. No, I put them up.
Damn.
I got an Xbox controller. Best I can do is my Xbox controller.
Nice. Well, hey, you might have used your Xbox controller.
Throwdowns. Throwdowns back. All right.
All right. Yes, it is. We're going back to Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. Last time we did a bit of a Turbo Throwdown special where we did the Ukesters and the Bangers. It was fun. I had a good time. But we are going back to tradition, the traditional Sega. How does it feel, Alex?
It feels blue, a little prickly, because today we're talking about a certain mascot, not Alex Kidd. Sorry, talking about slime from Dragon Quest. Apparently,
The slime is blue. This one.
No, we're not. We're talking about Sonic. Your song's cuter than mine. Mine's a Pez dispenser.
Well, yours dispenses more. Spencer would be proud.
Oh, that's a branding deal right there. We need to get Pez on the line. Of Spencer Pez dispenser.
Pez of Spencer.
Yeah, Pez of Spencer. Special edition.
Pez dispenser dispenser. The brain's working. It's working overtime.
Yes. We're back to doing our Throwdown series on the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, where we go through each of the games on the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection and pit them against each other so you can win in a tournament-style bracket. We're still in the first round. It's taking a while because there's a lot of games. And today we are returning to the Hedgehog, Sonic, to talk about two very special games. The games that everybody was asking for, not Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. No. Sonic Spinball and Sonic 3D Blast are on the table today.
Yeah, the sleeper Sonic titles.
The red-headed stepchildren, you will.
Yep, I'm probably no one's favorite.
I don't know. I feel like there's somebody out there that likes games. Or probably not. I don't know.
You know,
If you do, let us know in the comments below.
That's true. If you're blue, subscribe to both of us, Alex over on Turbo Zone, and me, Majora T, because we're big fans of Mr. Blue himself. You know, we didn't pick next matchup.
Oh, shit. We forgot how this works already.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a while.
And it's been a while.
Since we threw down. Well,
Since we threw down.
maybe I'll let you pick a genre and then I'll pick the games or something.
What are my options?
Beat 'em up, platformer, RPG, Sonic, unique. There you go. And we'll define platformer as action platformer.
That one.
All right, Dynamite Heady, Decap Attack it is.
Okay.
There it is. That's for next throwdown. Cool.
Dynamite Heady and Decap Attack. Which one am I? Am I Dynamite Heady or am I Decap Attack?
Yeah, you're a little heady.
I'm Dynamite Heady? Okay.
You're a little heady, and I've been decapped.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I took it.
You compliment me. Yeah, you compliment me ahead. We'll see which one comes out ahead. That's the pun. Yep.
But before we hop into today's throwdown, we were going to highlight some comments from last time.
Yeah. It wasn't a contest. It was a little bit of a contest. But, I mean, we both agreed Comic Zone won, but we still wanted to spotlight where you threw down. As always, let us know where you throw down in today's matchup. But, also check out our thoughts. Spinball versus 3D
I
Blast.
get thrown down.
But I get up again.
You're never going to throw me down.
Ball. Oh. Yeah, well, that should show how I feel today. Who's your comment?
I'm going to go with Bio.
A little bios.
So, Mr. Bio Phoenix Reviews, aka Bio Phoenix here. He says, 2 games that I have mixed feelings on. Comic Zone has a lot of charm with great animation and style, but the game's difficulty is brutal and unforgiving. Rystar, however, I did not play much, but it seemed very average and not memorable. True. Besides, Rystar is a pretty plain character. He is just a star with feet and hands, almost like Wild Woody. LOL. Who's Wild Woody?
Don't know.
I don't know who that is. So I will vote for Comic Zone for that it has potential at being a great game and needs a remake. And then he says, Alex got Comic Zone at the age of 1. Nice. Confirmed. I went to the store by myself, the age of 1.
Crawled there on all 4. Said, I'm not leaving till I get Comic Zone.
Goo goo gaga.
The cashier was so impressed, he's like, here, have a comics. Little did he know.
It's on the house.
Yeah.
So, the Bio doesn't think Rystar is memorable. I think Rystar is pretty memorable. He's got a cute design. It's got, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not memorable, right? It's like Kirby. Yeah.
Kirby is more memorable than Rystar.
No, I mean, I'm not saying Kirby. I'm not saying Rystar is, but I'm saying like being a simple design doesn't make you.
No, definitely not. I think just that Rystar is pretty mid tier. But one person who doesn't is Brian over on I Got Kings. Don't stop believing that Rystar is my choice. Love that. Rystar is colorful and I like his attack. It takes a bit to get used to. I like banging my head on walls and finding hidden gems and 1-ups. Explains a lot. It does get pretty difficult in the later levels, and I don't like the Memory Simon style game in one early level. I don't know that one. The music is great and catchy too. Comic Zone, I never really sat down and put some time into it, but I don't have to justify why. It's my life. I don't know how the tune goes. It's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. It's that one. Happy face.
When you said banging my head to a wall, I thought of bang your head.
Well, Brian is more of a Ryan because he likes Rystar. What if Brian it was a star? He would be Brystar. There you go.
No, bad joke.
Your mic is getting fuzzy. Can you unfuzz it?
Oh, my fuzzy mic. I might have to go no camera this time. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. I'll put gameplay up anyway.
Am I still fuzzy?
No. Okay, I'll match you.
I do also want to say that apparently Spencer thinks that Comic Zone has good animation. Spencer said something nice about a Sega game.
Woohoo! Respect.
It is raining cats and dogs.
He respects.
The world is ending.
The Sega. Oh, how the tides have changed.
And I don't want to leave Terry out, so I'll just say that Terry said that I saw Brian play Rystar. It looked horrendous.
Sounds about accurate. Well, that's the comments from last time. One thing that doesn't change is the order. Alex goes first. Alex, your mic is fuzzing up, though. That's my only concern.
I'm a fuzz. Is it still fuzzy?
Yeah, it sounds like you're playing an Atari game.
Ah, damn it. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm playing. Here, hold on. Let me try to fix it. My internet's been terrible lately. Okay. Is that better?
No.
No? Not better?
No. Worse?
Worse?
Yes. It got worse.
Uh,
Want to just wing it? See if you can do it?
yeah, I'll just wing it. Sorry if I'm fuzzy, everybody. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he? Alright. Sonic Spinball. Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball, also known as Sonic Spinball, was released in 1993. That's coming straight from the Wikipedia. It's a game by the Sega Technical Institute, which was the team here in the US that made other games, including, if I'm not mistaken, Comic Zone. They made a lot of different games for Sega at this time. Sonic Spinball is, brace yourself, everybody, you won't believe this, Sonic, but pinball. What? How did they get that idea? Obviously, pinball has been a big part of like the Sonic mythos for years. At this point, this was before Sonic 3, so the only thing they had to go off of was the first two games. So really, it's like Casino Night in the second game, and you can argue Spring Yard in the first game kind of has like pinball elements to it. So it kind of makes sense that they would go straight into a pinball game. This game is weird because it's a pinball game, but with, I don't want to say platforming elements, but like objectives. Usually it's just to get the Chaos Emeralds in each stage and then defeat a boss. The plot is that the evil the evil scientist Dr. Robotnik, I almost said the evil Dr. Scientist Robotnik, whatever, has built a fortress on top of a volcano to transform the animals of planet Mobius into robot slaves. The volcano's magma fuels the fortress and the pinball machine-like defense systems. The volcano is kept in stable condition with the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic the Hedgehog and his friend Tails, who is a boy, mount an aerial assault on the fortress. Sonic is knocked into the water surrounding the volcano, but surfaces in the caves below the fortress. He infiltrates the bases, blah, blah, blah. Sonic saves the day, whatever. So that's the basic setup of the game. They're climbing this evil fortress that Robotnik has built, but the defenses are a game of pinball, each stage of the game of pinball. This game is very, very tough. If you are good at pinball, you might not have a terrible time with it, but there's certain points in this game that seem a little unfair and random with the movements of the character, or like maybe you have to be really specific with like how you hit Sonic on the paddles. I do think it is a cool idea to kind of give Sonic a platforming pinball game. It seems like second nature for the character to have this style of game. I don't know if it works out as well as it wants to, but it does have appeal. The music's also pretty good, except for that that options music. I don't know if you've heard the options music. It sounds awful. It sounds like somebody put the Genesis in a blender. It's not good. It's like I mean, other than that, there's not much else I can cover in terms of the overall game without getting into my positives and negatives per se. But I do want to say, because I didn't know this, or maybe I did and forgot, but apparently there was a spinning roller coaster named Sonic Spinball opened in 2010 at Alton Towers in the theme park in, sorry if I butcher this, Staffordshire, which is in West Midlands in England. So there is a Sonic Spinball roller coaster opened in 2010 right near Terry's house, apparently.
Wow, Staffordshire.
So it got its own roller coaster in 2010 of all times. And this game is from November 23rd, 1993. It's almost the 30th year anniversary.
Yeah. 30 years young and still spinning.
30 years spinning. Spinning and winning.
Sonic Spinball is always a game that I expect more from than it is. However, I will say I was pleasantly surprised when I went to capture gameplay for this that I actually got further than I've ever gotten before. I usually just suck at this, and Sonic gets eaten. I get frustrated because there's 3 Chaos Emeralds that you have to get in the first stage alone. It's like getting to each one is an ordeal, lining up the paddles exactly. But no, I got all 3 Chaos Emeralds, and I barely touched the save state feature in order to do it. I did do it once as a precaution, but I didn't even need it. So it's actually more playable than I think I've previously given it credit for, but it still is tough as nails for sure. It's when I think of pinball, I think I really need a tight experience. One of my favorites is Metroid Prime Pinball. Really enjoy that one. Pinball video games have the potential to be awesome. I like Pokemon Pinball, another awesome one. Spinball just feels like it falls short. Like it just feels like it's trying to do too much, and that can be daunting. So,
Yeah.
we'll come back to specifically why, but that's my general thoughts.
Yeah. Just pinball video games in general are just like inherently flawed from the get-go because they're based on a game that uses like real life physics because it's a game, so it's a real game. So trying to combine that with the platformer elements can be tricky. And not all games can do it well. I do think there is some cool stuff here though that I want to just not again positive and negatives later on, but just to mention that one of my earliest memories of this game is the first level of Toxic Caves, which took me forever to beat when I was a kid. But when you get on that barrel in the middle and then that like weird robot alligator thing comes up to try to bite you,
Yep.
And that music plays, that terrified me as a kid. every time I tried to play this game and I got on that like middle platform, I tried to get out there as soon as I could because I heard that music. I was like, and the thing comes up to bite you. And I'm like, oh, and like I was just scared me as a kid. So that's funny. Also, the bonus rounds when Sonic himself is playing pinball, and he like hits a little capsule to let animals free. I think that's the only time in an official Sonic game where you can see characters from the Sonic Saturday morning cartoon. This Bean Machine uses stuff from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, but this has characters from the Sonic Saturday AM cartoon, and it's the only time a game has ever used those characters. So that's kind of a neat little trivia, piece of trivia.
Cool.
Yeah.
Saturday morning. Well, here we are recording Saturday night for probably Tuesday. Come full circle. Ready
Tuesday
for,
afternoon.
That's right. Ready to go take it to 3D?
Blast me away.
All right, it's time to blast off. All right, Sonic's first adventure into 3D was not the grand adventure many hoped it would be. It was Sonic 3D Blast for the Sega Genesis, released in 1996 November. This was the last Sonic game for the Sega Genesis, and for a while it was considered, I guess, a controversial or not good Sonic game, despite being surprisingly playable. It's an isometric game, so the vantage at which you look at Sonic is like a tilted stage. It's not traditional 2D side-scroller Sonic, which is what a lot of people prefer. And it really controls slippery because Sonic is just running on all these paces very fast, and it can be difficult to master the controls. But it's still a very unique experience. The game's programming was outsourced to Traveller's Tales. They are a British company, and the reason for that was that the Sonic team staff was preoccupied making nights into dreams. When the Sega Sonic Extreme game for the Saturn was canceled, a port of 3D Blast was made for the Sega Saturn. It had better graphics and a different soundtrack. So I really like that Saturn version. The reviews on the game were mixed, and people were criticizing it for the isometric gameplay, controls, and pace. The concept for the game is that your goal as Sonic the Hedgehog is to save the flickies. Every stage has a number of flickies that are trapped inside of monsters that Dr. Robotnik has transformed. Why? Because when Dr. Robotnik discovered the flickies, he learned that they can travel anywhere using large rings. So he exploited them and turned them into robots to help him in his search for Chaos Emeralds. So as Sonic, you must free the flickies. Sonic retains a lot of his abilities from previous games, jumping, spinning in midair, the spin dash, which I find especially useful in this game. It's one of the most accurate ways to take out enemies, especially because you can kind of angle how you use the spin dash. The rings serve as your health. The game has several levels. There are zones, a couple, they seem standard at first. I don't have the names up here. But kind of like your traditional kind of like green foresty area. Then there's a fire level. But then there's also some like very machinery based ones. Pretty cool. The concept for the level is different though. So you have to free 5 flickies to advance further in the level, bring them all to a ring, and not lose the flickies by getting hit. And that could be a real pain because then if you have to recollect the flickies, it's just navigating around to get them is not easy. And that's just to progress to the next area in the stage. You'd have to do that a couple times just to beat one level of one zone. So you're repeating this process over and over again, defeating monsters, saving flickies, bringing them to a ring section without getting hit. And I won't go too much into like the pros and cons with that yet, but there are some. The special stages are unique. So in every stage, you can find either Tails or Knuckles. And if you give them 50 rings, you can access a hidden level, which is Sonic running up a bridge and bringing a set number of rings to try and collect the emerald. This is one of the few games I can naturally get all of the Chaos Emeralds in pretty easily. And it does help you to unlock the true ending in the game, which is a pretty unique boss battle. So I remember that and had a pretty fun time with it. And you can even get all the Chaos Emeralds probably within the first 2 worlds if you are diligent enough. So in a nutshell, Sonic 3D Blast, it's unique, it's different, and it controls different.
Yeah, this is definitely a love it or hate it game for people because of how different it is from a standard Sonic game. I think it's unique, and I tend to like it. I think it has an interesting legacy because a lot of the music was repurposed for Sonic Adventure in some areas. And also in 2017, the director, if I can find his name, John Burton, I think it said, he released an official director's cut of the game for Genesis that improves controls, adds a level editor, a password system, time attack, and the ability to turn into supersonic. So there is potentially a better Genesis version that we could be playing, but we're talking about Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection today, and that was before 2017, so that didn't exist yet.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I need that Ultimate version. Granted, there are a few parts of the game where, it gets a little bit slower, but, I think all in all, it's still a pretty playable experience.
Yeah, I tend to like this game. I think it can be quirky at points. But overall, I tend to have a fun time with this one, and I think it's an interesting release. Kind of an impressive one for the Genesis. I think the visuals look pretty good. Not really surprised because Traveler's Tales at that time. They also did that Toy Story game, which looked pretty good for the 16-bit consoles. So it's not a surprise that they were able to get the most out of the consoles, the hardware.
Mm-hmm. The reviews are actually pretty decent too, from what I'm seeing. You got some 4s, you got 30s, 26.5, 17 out of 20. What are these score systems? It's so weird. But on average, it's a 4 or B, maybe a 3 if they're not airing high. So they don't think it's like utter garbage. They just, it's just kind of a good game.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the scores for Spinball. Spinball's got like, I see, 28 out of 40, 4.5 out of 5, a 3.5 out of 5, an 81%, a 93%, a C, an 86%, and that was from like the old scores at the time. And then they have like a list of like current scores, but I won't count that.
Mm-hmm. Did you know there was a Sega Saturn magazine?
Yeah, I wrote it. I was kidding. No. No.
When I was a baby, I wrote my first magazine.
That's interesting. Where did this come out?
What, Sega Saturn magazine? Let me see.
Yeah, I clicked on it. So I'm trying to see what this says.
I love how the cover image is awesome CD, sexy as hell. Vampire Savior goes for the jugular.
Yeah, that's Morgan from Darkstalkers. Oh, it was a UK magazine. That's why I never heard of it.
There you go, Terry.
Terry, heat it up. All right, you ready to move on to some positive negatives?
Absolutely. Sonic
Spinball. Sonic Spinball. Positives.
Spin me right round, Sonic, right?
You spin my balls.
That's a positive.
I think a positive, which honestly will apply to both of these, is except for the options music, because goddamn, what happened there? Is the game soundtrack's pretty good. I think like just in general, I always think of that first level, Toxic Caves. It has like a really catchy dun 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 dun, like that theme. And I think the presentation's nice, especially for 93. You gotta think 93 is still it's not as far along as 3D Blast, and the visuals still look pretty good for this title.
Mm-hmm. I also appreciate that it feels kind of like an adventure. It doesn't feel like I'm just playing pinball, but like I'm exploring this like Toxic Cave world. I've never really played past that, but I think I appreciate a pinball game that does try to be a little different. Metroid Prime Pinball is like that. There's segments where, Samus turns into, like a shooter on the stage. And Sonic, has some parts where he's literally running across the stage or paddling on the oil barrel. So pretty cool moments.
Yeah, this probably isn't the first instance of it, but I wonder what was the first instance of like making a adventure pinball game, and like if this was, but like I said, there probably was something before this that tried that idea.
I wonder when well, I haven't played Devil's Crush in a while. Devil's Fury, was that it?
Oh yeah, there were a few of those. There was like Dragon's Fury, Dragon's
Revenge.
Yeah, Dragon's Revenge. I wonder when those came out. Other positives for Sonic Spinball. other than the visuals and the music and the adventure. Okay. I don't know. It's got a fun 2-player mode. I actually have played this 2-player before.
Yeah.
With my mom, because she actually does like this game. And it was one that like I think like I got like the Sonic's Sonic Mega Collection Plus, and this was on there, and I remember playing this with her when I was a kid, and so like it is a fun like back and forth 2-player mode.
I can't say the same.
Negatives.
Tedious progression, I would say.
Yeah, not only just tedious, almost like some of the progression feels like chance, Mm-hmm. It feels like sometimes you have to hit Sonic at such a specific angle, and no matter how much you try, sometimes it just feels like it's up to luck if you get it or not.
I could think of one part where it's like I'm trying to hit Sonic up the tube, and it keeps just doing the part where he loops to the other side, and I'm just basically hitting in a loop over and over again. Because I'm just like a pace off on the flipper. And then it's always annoying getting dropped down to the oil barrel. I mean, it is a lifesaver technically, but I don't know. It like takes me out of the moment a little bit, and then it's awkward like jumping back up to the flipper.
Yeah, using the actual it was just funny. The actual platforming when you're like standing around as Sonic isn't great. It feels clunky, like sluggish, you know. Which should not be the case for, Sonic.
Right. He's floaty almost.
Yeah. Kind of floaty. I think it also suffers... Okay. Sorry. I was going to say, I think it also... I don't know how far you did play in, but I think it does suffer from some unclear objectives at some points, too. To where you're just like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing right now? Yeah.
Yeah, even with the first 3 Chaos Emeralds, which I did get, one of them is a bit vague and ambiguous. If I was a kid playing this, I would not have found it. Like paddling over on the oil barrel to go to the left side of the screen. I did end up figuring it out. And I mean, you have to use your awareness of your surroundings to be able to figure that out. But I can't imagine what the later stages are like. Also, I don't know if I love the idea that you have to get all of the Chaos Emeralds just to fight the boss and advance to the next stage.
Yeah, and in the game, in pinball is about really about score, and nothing about this game ever requires score. So really, like hitting the extra shit when you're going around, there's no really big incentive to do it. Like. If the game actually like used your score to like block off progression, I would understand, but it doesn't do that. So, what's the point of a score?
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't really. I think it's slow. It is pretty slow, like progressing in this game. I don't know if I'd have the patience to finish, like even the next stage.
I don't blame you.
Have you ever beat this game?
No. This is not a game that I've ever beaten. Maybe I will one day. Maybe I'll just make myself go through it. But it's a game that I play a few levels in, and then I just get frustrated, and I'm like, I'm not playing this.
Right. Oh. Sonic Spinball.
3D Blast?
Yeah, 3D Blast. Let's go positive.
3D blast out of its blasted out of its nutshell.
Yeah. Where does it blast off in a good way?
I think the first and most obvious is the visuals. Even though those special stages look rough, but I think overall the game does look visually striking, even if it is like a 3D isometric game. Like it looks colorful. It looks like Sonic. And even like the opening animation when the game starts and it's like all grainy and filtered and then it blasts into like the smooth animation, like that's cool for the Genesis. I could imagine having only a Genesis at the time and then that being like my first foray into like quote unquote 3D games. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the character models themselves have this cool pre-rendered look. Like it almost looks like I don't know a good comparison here, like Gumby or something.
Gumby, Donkey Kong Gumby.
Yes, Donkey Kong Gumby.
There actually is a Gumby game for GBA. Maybe that compared to that.
I meant the show, but okay. The movie. It's been a while. Gumby.
What other? Sorry, Gumby.
Good special stages. I like them. I think they're and just seeing Sonic and Tails or Knuckles and Tails on the screen. It's a pretty cool system.
I would actually argue against that. I think after playing the Saturn version, the special stages are kind of a letdown, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, there's other.
You're allowed to
positives.
like them, though. I can't take that away from you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
The music. Sorry. I was gonna say the music's a big one. Obviously, this game has a really great soundtrack, and so much so that they repurposed some of the songs for adventure.
I think some of it's overstated.
Specifically,
though. I thought I was going to be more impressed going back and like Ice Cap Zone. I couldn't wait to go and replay, but then I realized the Saturn music version is better.
You prefer the Saturn over the Genesis?
I think so.
I think I'm the other way around. I think I prefer the Genesis soundtrack.
There's a couple of good songs on
to
there.
me, the Genesis, the Genesis one to me sounds like fun, but like fun and bubbly.
I'm up and down on it. There's some of them I like and some of them I don't from the Genesis, and then same with the Saturn version.
Okay.
Some of them are classic, like the when you start off the game. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Other positives, it's functional. You know, I think a lot of critics are like, "Oh, it's sloppy. It's, you know, you run all over the place, easy to lose your rings." But I find it like if I really want to, I can preserve the flickies and the rings for like the first half of the game pretty well.
Yeah, the game's not really about going fast per se. It's more about adventuring, you know, and like exploring your surroundings.
Yeah,
I do like that. That's.
I think it succeeds at being like a Sonic game at a couple points, like when you're going down tubes or firing off of a cannonball, you know? Those are like iconic Sonic moments, it feels like. Or when you're getting like turned into an ice cube and then drop down a giant slope. That's really cool. Or even in what's the Mayan stage? The Aztec ruins or something? I don't know. But this is the second stage,
The one,
and he turns into a tornado.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one where you spin around.
Yeah, that's super cool. Regardless if it like feels like it doesn't control perfectly, you know, I think the mechanic is used well.
Any other positives?
I'm sure there's some. I mean, I like the bosses. I think the bosses are pretty good, although there's some of them are better than others. And I'm ready to move into negatives.
Time for the negatives.
You go first.
I think, I think a big negative is the controls. They can be slippery, which makes, if you want to play this like a Sonic game and actually kind of move around quickly, it can be a bit of a hindrance. What I mean, even the designer John Burton says so when he made the director's cut, because that's one of the things he highlighted was better controls.
I think it controls better than other isometric games. Like, what were we playing? Snake Rattle and Roll, where it was like you push right and it went like up diagonal right. Like, I feel like Sonic 3D Blast is responsive to the input that you put in. So in that respect, it's not like mentally jarring for me. It is off if, say, I want to make a jump like diagonally in the fire pit and I have 5 flickies floating behind me and then I fall in the fire pit and they all scramble and I have to aim and get them. It's terrible. That sucks.
Oh, yeah, that's more of like just the game's design. I think it's just like trying to gauge like distance almost. You know, trying to gauge depth can be a little tricky sometimes.
The stage design makes it hard. That's where my issue comes in. I had a notorious one with the second world boss where he like drops his paws, Robotnik's like in this like robot thing or something. Robotnik in a robot, go figure. But he's got like these paws that drop, and I thought I was jumping on the thing, and I was, but the input would knock me back anyway. So there's like some very precise platforming to do in a game that is hard to do precision platforming in, where Sonic kind of runs fast and sloppy. So
Some people like it fast and sloppy. You never know. Okay. Sorry. What other negatives?
I just want to say it's not like my sloppy joes.
I think a negative could be just also the graphical designs. I think it is easy to get lost in some areas because they don't differentiate like what area you're in, because you're looking at the floor a lot and sometimes like the tiles look the same, you know, in whatever area you're in. So it can be easy to just get turned around a lot. So that could be also seen as a negative. I've had that happen a few times in some of the levels.
The later levels are particularly difficult with that. I'm thinking of like the one, there's like two right before Robotnik, and they drag it because there's two like mechanical themed levels. After I played the first one, it's like, I'm ready for the final boss. And then they threw another damn stage at me. And I knew they were trolling me because even by that one, they didn't have you do multiple flicky gates. They had you just do one. They were like, all right, we get it. You probably want to move on. And even that was a chore. Like every flicky was so far separated. You had to go down multiple tubes. I had such a hard time finding the exit. There was one where it's like you had to hit the jump from like a moving platform onto another moving platform just to get to a flicky. There was another area. If you didn't make that jump, you'd fall a layer below. Like 2 layers below, and in the mid layer is where the progression gate was. It was ridiculous.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else on 3D Blast. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I mean, sometimes when you lose your flickies, it can be hard to tell where they are. I mean, that's my only complaint.
You want a navigation arrow?
Yeah, flicky here.
Flick the nub over this way.
It is cool that like, as much as this is a 3D Blast game, honestly, it's flicky. You ever play the game Flicky?
Yeah.
That's going to be in this competition. It's that.
I had to play Flicky to unlock one of these.
Yeah, it's that idea, but in like a 3D space almost. So. Okay.
Well, it's time to put these hedgehogs up against each other. It's Sonic versus
Sonic. Who's gonna win?
Who is the ultimate hedgehog?
Sonic with the balls or Sonic with the blast?
It's time to put ball to blast. Turn on
cameras for this because we kind of
the great reveal.
See if it'll work. See if it'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll follow your lead.
3, 2, 1. 3D Blast.
3D Blast. Woo!
3D Blast.
Yeah.
I think neither of these games are perfect.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. They're both serviceable with what they do, I guess. I just think what 3D Blast does is more interesting.
Yep. Spinball has potential. It's just doesn't give the player enough amenities, whereas 3D Blast at least lives up to its potential.
Yeah, 3D Blast feels like a fully realized idea. Spinball feels like they were like, well, Sonic does pinball stuff, so we got to make a pinball game. All right, we made it. I feel like they could have done more with the pinball concept. It's a concept that would carry on through the rest of the Sonic series, and they do more with it in other Sonic games. But I think it's just Sonic is so closely associated with that style of gameplay that it's a little bit of a letdown that the actual pinball game they made is not great.
Yep. But they both live on in the legacy. Let us know where you stand. Spinball versus 3D Blast, which is the better Sonic game, and why. Your vote doesn't count.
Spencer and Terry are gonna hate them. Spencer and Terry are gonna rip them all apart.
What did Terry say? He watched Rystar and it looked horrible. I can't wait to see what he says about Spinball.
Or 3D Blast.
I would be interesting. I would like Terry's take on 3D Blast.
3D Blast is rubbish.
Which do you want Spencer's take on?
I want Spencer's take on 3D Blast because I mean, pinball is just pinball. Spinball is just pinball.
True. I want to know if Spencer played a pinball game he liked, a video game, pinball game.
I think Spencer played Mario Pinball Land.
Did he really?
And loved it.
Kirby's Tumble, maybe?
Kirby has a pinball game. He has a
Terry would have played that.
on Game Boy. That is a good game. That's also like that game and Gator's Revenge were like the same team. Meet us next time where we're gonna get ahead in the competition with Dynamite Heady and Decap Attack.
We're going to get ahead and we're going to take it off.
And throw it at you.
Yeah. What's the sound effect? Ah!
I don't know. All I know is the music from Decap Attack.
How does it go?
It's like because it's like spooky themed.
Dang.
Or whatever.
I don't think we'll do it in time, but it would be awesome to have it out for the Halloween.
Yeah, we should have done that. We should have done that for Halloween. Damn it.
Well, it's not too late. Maybe we could have a belated Halloween, if needed.
Yeah, Halloween and Thanksgiving.
There we go.
Halloween on Thanksgiving.
Halloween giving. Hallow giving.
Hallow giving.
Thanks, Ween.
Thanks, Ween. Sonic 3D Blast, you made it.
You won't make it much further, though.
I'm just gonna put this out there. It's probably not gonna make the next round, whatever it goes up. I don't know what it would beat. I don't know what the hell it would be.
Kid Chameleon, maybe?
No, the Kid Chameleon. I don't think it'd be Kid Chameleon.
I've beaten 3D Blast. I have not beaten Kid Chameleon.
Fantasy Zone? Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. Find out next time. Turbo Throwdown.